An ant can crawl across a football stadium during the greatest match in history and never know Lionel Messi exists. It can walk across the grass. It can feel the ground shake. It can sense movement, shadows, vibrations, noise. It might even crawl across a player's boot. But it will never understand the match. It will never understand the crowd. It will never understand the rules, the pressure, the history, the genius, or the meaning of what is happening around it. To the ant, one of the greatest moments in human sport would be nothing more than noise, movement, and confusion. Now ask yourself something uncomfortable. What if we are the ant? Humans like to believe we are the peak of intelligence. We look at ants, birds, dogs, dolphins, and chimpanzees, and we understand that they are limited. A chimp can watch a football match on television. It may see colors. It may hear the crowd. It may react to the movement. But it cannot understand why Lionel Messi is considered one of the greatest footballers in history. It cannot understand trophies, tactics, legacy, childhood dreams, national pride, or why millions of people cry when a ball crosses a line. The information is there. The chimp can see it. But it cannot understand the meaning behind it. And that distinction matters, because seeing something is not the same as comprehending it. Now imagine a form of intelligence so far above us that the gap between us and them is greater than the gap between us and ants. Not just smarter, not just more advanced, but operating with concepts, senses, and dimensions that our brains were never built to process. Humans often imagine aliens as creatures we could eventually understand. Maybe they have ships. Maybe they send signals. Maybe they land on Earth and speak through translators. But what if that is a human fantasy? What if truly advanced intelligence would not look like us, speak like us, or even exist in the way we understand existence? What if we are waiting for aliens to knock on the door, while not realizing we cannot even perceive the door? When people ask, if aliens exist, why haven't they contacted us? They assume contact would be simple. They assume aliens would use signals we can detect. They assume they would care about being understood. They assume they would communicate through language, symbols, radio waves, light, sound, or technology we recognize. But why? An ant colony can exist inside a human city. It can live beneath roads, buildings, power lines, satellites, fiber optic cables, and airports. It is surrounded by human civilization. But the ants do not know they are living inside a human system. They do not understand traffic. They do not understand electricity. They do not understand money, politics, war, art, science, or religion. Humanity is everywhere around them, but not in a form they can comprehend. So what if something similar is happening to us? What if intelligence beyond us is not absent? What if it is simply operating at a level we cannot access? We experience reality in a very limited way. We see a narrow slice of light. We hear a narrow range of sound. We feel time moving forward. We experience space in 3 dimensions. But our senses are not reality itself. They are filters. They are survival tools. They show us just enough of the world to function. A dog can hear sounds we cannot hear. A snake can detect heat in ways we cannot. A bee can see ultraviolet patterns invisible to us. So even on Earth, different creatures already live inside different versions of reality. Now imagine beings that do not just have better senses, but exist in a higher dimensional way. If a 2-dimensional creature lived on a flat surface, it could not fully understand a 3-dimensional hand passing through its world. It might only see strange cross-sections, a fingertip appearing from nowhere, changing shape, disappearing. To that creature, the event would seem impossible, supernatural, maybe even meaningless. But from our perspective, nothing magical happened. The creature simply lacked the dimensions required to understand us. So if higher dimensional intelligence interacted with our world, what would we see? Maybe not a being, maybe not a ship, maybe not a face. Maybe we would see fragments, patterns, shadows, distortions, coincidences, events that seem random because we cannot see the full structure behind them. Humans imagine alien contact as a conversation, a message, a signal, a meeting. But maybe contact between radically different levels of intelligence does not work that way. You cannot explain the internet to an ant. You cannot explain international law to a dog. You cannot explain Lionel Messi's greatness to a chimp in any meaningful way. Not because they are worthless, not because they are stupid in their own world, but because their minds are not shaped to hold those ideas. So what if aliens have already communicated in ways we cannot understand? What if the problem is not silence? What if the problem is translation? Maybe we are surrounded by signals that do not look like signals. Maybe we are seeing effects without understanding causes. Maybe what we call randomness, mystery, or impossibility is sometimes just our limited perception colliding with something larger. This does not mean every strange event is alien. It does not mean we should abandon science. In fact, it means the opposite. It means we should be humble. Because science begins with the admission that reality is bigger than what we currently understand. For most of history, humans thought Earth was the center of the universe. Then we learned it was not. We thought our sun was special. Then we learned it was one star among billions. We thought our galaxy was everything. Then we learned there were billions of galaxies. Again and again, human beings have discovered that we are not at the center. So maybe the next humbling step is not about where we are physically. Maybe it is about where we are mentally. Maybe we are not advanced enough to recognize true advancement. Maybe we are not intelligent enough to recognize higher intelligence. Maybe we are not looking at an empty universe. Maybe we are looking at a universe full of things we are too limited to notice. The scariest possibility is not that aliens are far away. It is that they are close. Maybe closer than we think. Not hiding behind the moon. Not waiting in another star system. But existing in a layer of reality we do not have the senses, tools, or intelligence to access. Like radio waves before humans built radios. Like bacteria before microscopes. Like gravity before we had equations to describe it. Something can affect your world before you know what it is. Something can be real long before you can prove it. And if that is true, then maybe alien intelligence is not absent. Maybe it is simply beyond our current interface with reality. An ant does not know it is small. It does not know there is a larger world above it. It does not know that humans exist in any meaningful way. It simply lives inside the limits of its perception. And maybe we do too. Maybe we are not alone. Maybe we are not ignored. Maybe we are not even hidden from. Maybe the universe is speaking constantly, but we are still too young to understand the language. So the next time someone asks, if aliens are real, why haven't they contacted us? Maybe the better question is, would we even know if they had? What do you think? Are aliens absent, or are we simply too limited to perceive them? Leave your thoughts below. Because if humans really are the ants, then the truth may already be all around us.